Hi, UbiGabe. Welcome to the live stream. Thanks for joining us. Everyone say hi to Gabe, guys. He's
Hello, Gabe. What's up, UbiGabe? It was great to see you at Comic-Con. Finally meet you face to face.
It was totally a fun show.
Yeah. Everybody in the chat is saying hello, Gabe.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know if you have the live stream up. If you don't, that's fine. We'll read to you if they have any questions for you or not. But if you do pull it up, make sure you mute it so you don't get it back. Yeah, we were really excited to get you. We wanted you, first of all, because we know you're like the face of Assassin's Creed with like this huge followership and viewership, and the one that gets all the awesome like instant info before everyone else. So we're hoping that's for us. So what's going to be happening with the new Assassins? Tell us a little bit about the game, if you don't mind.
Oh gosh, okay. Well, on the single player side, we've covered a lot about how Desmond's in a bit of a jam, but mostly the game is focused on Ezio and his race against the Templars. What happens is that Ezio, after besting all of his enemies and like totally destroying Cesare, is sort of reaching like the twilight of his years, and doesn't know what to do really. So looking at his history and what he's done, he looks at the assassins, and he has a desire to learn more about them, and that leads him to the legend of Altair, who is a legendary assassin, and he knows that there's something to do with Altair that can give him the answers that he's looking for, to kind of like give some meaning to his existence and help him understand what the assassins are all about and what he's been fighting for all these years.
Oh my God! Does that mean, or can you give it up? Are we going to see Altair again, and then the next Assassins?
Oh, definitely. No, you'll definitely see Altair. I mean, we revealed that Altair is going to be in the game, and that he will be playable. But we need to make sure that people understand that it's really Ezio's game more than anything else.
Okay.
I mean, it's his sort of quest for knowledge that leads him to Masyaf to search for an ancient library that's rumored to contain some secrets that have been locked away there by Altair. But yeah, I mean, yeah, Altair will be in it. You'll see him again.
So I know that the demo that you guys had out, or were having out, that had Ezio and Constantinople. Is that the main city that we'll be in for the next Assassins, or will we kind of be all over?
You will be in Constantinople. You'll visit Masyaf, sort of revisit Masyaf as Ezio. And we also have another place that you'll be going that we can announce, that we have announced, called Cappadocia, which is like a giant underground city.
All of them do.
Oh, is that legit? Is that historical?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, I don't know all the details actually. I just know that it's like this crazy like cavern city thing. It's huge.
That's awesome. So I know that is it pronounced Janissaries? Is that how to pronounce that?
Janissary.
Who are the Janissaries, and tell us a little bit more about them.
Manhunt?
Well, they're basically the military for the Sultanate. I mean, they were recruited like very young, and they were trained throughout their entire lives, like sometimes as young as like 10 or 12 years old. And basically, they're the military for the Sultan. They're like his personal bodyguards. They're like these elite guard guys. They mostly use firearms, and they're really, really accurate with them.
I actually heard there's some unique new weapons, since you're talking about firearms and stuff. Like a flamethrower and things like that. Are these things that existed back then too? And what other weapons can we expect?
Sorry?
The flamethrower I heard about?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, the Greek fire cannon is a thing that actually existed. Though the one that we have in the demo is pretty ostentatious. What it was basically was like a naval weapon that was it was basically like a flamethrower. It was like a napalm cannon. And in fact, like, it was an actual thing that existed, but nobody knows the precise formula they used to create the flaming, like, sticky substance that it shot out. but yeah, you'll get to use that in the game. But the Greek fire cannon is really more like one of the exotic weapons that we have. That's kind of similar to like the Leo missions, where you'll have contact with them, but it's not like Ezio's going to carry it around with him and just like hose down enemies with fire all the time.
Right. You got to make it, especially if you're going to implement that in multiplayer, which I don't know if it's confirmed. Definitely want to make it fair. We do have a question from the chat from Black Ryan. Will you be able to use rifles as well? So we know we had the pistol in the last game. So are we now going to be maybe seeing a rifle perchance?
I don't think that we've talked about that very much, but the thing about it is that Ezio already has the hidden gun. And in general, like he's usually best with the weapons that he's carrying with him. Those are the weapons that he's trained with, and those are the ones that he's most familiar with. And of course, the hidden blade and all of the weapons that go along with it, like the hook blade, which is new, and the hidden gun, are the kinds of things that he feels most comfortable with. So I don't necessarily know if he'll be picking up rifles anytime soon.
Yeah, and I did hear about the hook blade, which I wanted to bring up, because he uses it along zip lines and stuff. Like, what can we expect with this? How is this going to change the way we get around? And will this be in multiplayer? Have we talked about that?
I don't think the hook blade will be in multiplayer. We haven't talked much about multiplayer because we actually have some multiplayer reveals coming up pretty soon that I think are going to be exciting. But the hook blade it's an awesome weapon. Like, not only is it a crazy weapon, like, in combat, but it also like helps Ezio in navigation. And the zipline is just one example of that. Like, he can also use it to scale buildings faster and, like, just get around the city faster in general. The hook blade is super prevalent in the game and has, like, a wide variety of uses. So, like, it comes into play in counters. It comes into play, like, sometimes you don't want to fight enemies, so you just, hook them and move on.
Right. So I know we had, like, at times, where we could get around when we were playing campaign on, Da Vinci's flying machine. Is that still in the game, or will the hook blade kind of be replacing that for fast maneuverability?
Yeah, I think the hook blade, especially, like, particularly zip lines, is the primary mode of fast travel. I don't know, because, of course, I don't know if we'll have Leo in the game.
Okay.
And I mean, that's not to say that Ezio won't be able to find, like, new inventions and things like that. Like, the assassins that make their home in Constantinople are pretty inventive. I'll leave it at that.
That's awesome. Now, I also know with all the assassins, one of the greatest parts about the game are these worlds that you build. Like, you guys tried to remain authentic to the time periods and the outline of the city. We're primarily in Constantinople, which is a really burgeoning city at that time. How do you guys reflect this city in the game?
Well, we've done a ton of research, right? Like, with all the Assassin's Creed games, when we're in pre-production, we make a really big deal out of making sure that, our art directors and a bunch of people on our staff make sort of like a pilgrimage to the area that they're going to try and capture in game. And of course, that's true for Assassin's Creed Revelations as well. We've made trips to modern day Istanbul and done tons of research in their libraries and things like that to get a real taste of what those locations are like. So, like, we have the Hagia Sophia that we have in, like, really, really great detail, and Constantinople itself is a really interesting city because it lies at a crossroads between, like, the Middle East and the rest of Europe, like the sort of Mediterranean landscape. So it has, like, different quarters to it, and so, like, the kind of things that you'll see that you would expect to see, like the famous landmarks, like Glotta Tower. Those will all be in the game, and that's sort of like in the Italian quarter of the city. It's a really, really vibrant city too. Like, it's a really, like, full of hustle and bustle. As a crossroads, there's, like, a lot of trade going on there and stuff like that. So it's definitely one of those scenarios where, we had to do a lot of research. We've done that research, and I think people are going to be really impressed with, like, the way our crowd system works.
Awesome. I know we are. That's the one thing that's always blown me away with the game. We do have a question from the chat, if you don't mind answering, or if you're able to. C5 Studio asks, is Revelations the last Assassin's Creed game?
The last... Oh.
I doubt that, but I'll let you answer it.
Yeah, see, the main problem with that that kind of question is, I'm not really qualified to make any game announcements, so I can't necessarily address those kinds of questions.
On the business side, I think we could probably be safe to say that this is a great brand for us. That for Ubisoft, it's a big brand that people love, and that it will continue in some way for, I'm sure, years to come. Wouldn't that?
Yeah, I mean, we've had a lot of our creative director Alex Amancio was like, really focused on, okay, so this is the end of Ezio's story, and I think the current quote that is out there is that Desmond's story will go on.
Sweet. We love Desmond. Can't wait to see him. Yeah. I want to see him before this series, the franchise ever ends. I better see him as a female assassin, or I'll probably assassinate someone myself. And I'm sure all the girls are going to that. We want to see a female assassin as the primary. I'm sure the guys would love to see that too. But I know he's got a female ancestor. It has to be hidden around there somewhere. So if I don't see that, you're going to see Valkyrie go a little, female assassin instead. I know you can't talk much about the multiplayer, but there was a demo Manhunt, right? Was that right?
Oh yeah, and we also showed off. I think it was 4 new characters, something like that. We have a lot more lined up to show off.
Awesome! Yeah, the characters are a big thing and something that everyone wants to play, like something that calls to them. But let's talk a little bit about Manhunt. Since that's the only thing anyone's seen for the multiplayer. Like, can you describe Manhunt mode and what that is?
Yeah, sure. I mean, Manhunt is basically like it's one of our team modes. So like cooperation is really important. I mean, Manhunt has like 2 teams of 4 people, where half of the teams are predators, more or less, right? And the other half are their targets. So, as the name would imply, you have one half of the entire party, so like 4 players going after the other 4 players. Now the thing about Manhunt is that it's balanced, so that halfway through the game you switch over and predators become the prey. It's kind of like Wanted, but a little bit more mediated, in that Wanted is like everyone's on their own and they get assigned targets, and targets are assigned to them and stuff like that. But Manhunt is a little bit more structured, I guess, would be the word.
It's a pretty fun game mode. What's tricky about it is that everybody on your team, you all look the same, and everybody on the opposite team all has the same character that they're playing. So it's like you have, you're all. It's a fun game mode. I love it.
Oh, you got to play it? You got your hands on it? I'm so jealous.
Yeah, well, they have it on Brotherhood.
Yeah.
It's a game mode on Brotherhood. It's fantastic.
Yeah, we have a few game modes returning, and Manhunt is definitely one of them. And of course, yeah.
Are there any new modes that have been talked about at least, or anything?
There are new modes, but I don't believe we've talked about any of them yet.
Okay, so I can't give that for you guys. That's great. Let's talk about the characters then.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us a little bit more about some of these new characters we're bringing in. What are we going to see? What's cool out there?
Well, the thing about the multiplayer for Revelations is it's going to be set in a new environment, right? Like we have Revelations itself is very much themed towards sort of this more like Mediterranean kind of thing. And certainly like the ones that we've revealed so far are the Guardian. And one of the things that I like about our multiplayer characters now is that they have been they've been integrated more into the single player campaign. So we have like more of an explanation of who they are and things like that. And so like the Guardian is like the little like description of him is that he's an estranged cousin of the first Sultan of the Sinar Sultanate. And he has a deep hatred for rulers who claim divine mandates.
What?
He was chased by his own family. He was chased out of Africa by his own family in 1505, after which he traveled north to Alexandria and found solace in the Templars' worldly ideology, peace through order and stability. So the Guardian is kind of this wayward character who'd lost his way until the Templars provided him some rules that he felt like he could live by.
Oh, well, that sounds sweet. What's his kind of look to him?
The Guardian, I think the Guardian is... Oh, man. See, now here's the thing. Is it like...
I don't know if pictures have been released or anything. I
have the descriptions and stuff like that. I think the Guardian is the guy with the vest and the turban and the big scimitar.
Ah, sweet.
I think that one is the Guardian.
We got any female characters upcoming, new types, or?
We do. We have the Vanguard, who is a Cossack from Odessa, and
Cool.
and she's kind of like